But let's just deal with this off the top, because up next is Atletico Madrid, the defending champions. It's not really who you want to be playing after 2 defeats on the bounce in the Champions League. Is his job in danger? Should we be taking this seriously? Are they going to wait until see how the Atleti game goes? What vibe are you getting?
Right, well, Koeman last night was asked about this, and he said he had the support of the players. He was asked, "Do you have the support of the club?" He said, "I don't know," and he knows, but partly because he knows he doesn't. Look, put very bluntly, if it had been cheaper and easier to replace Koeman and to find an alternative to him, he would have already gone. You know, if you like, the fallout between him and the president is already such that it feels like there's no way back. Now, obviously, any football manager, if he suddenly goes on a 50-game unbeaten run playing marvellous football, survives. But the reason that he's got this far is because it's difficult to change the situation because of the cost of it and because of the lack of alternatives. And so what that does is it tells you that the game against Atletico Madrid is on Saturday night. It's now Thursday morning. It's very unlikely that you move things in time for it to happen for then. And then, of course, you've got an international break coming up, which gives a little bit more time. But one of the most basic ways of expressing this to you is, in the summer, Ronald Koeman and John Laporta were talking about his position, and Laporta said, "Give me 2 weeks to find a manager. And if not, you continue." Now, first of all, the if you like, the brazenness of telling a manager, "I'm going to try and find someone better, but if there isn't anyone there, you can have this job." And secondly, of course, that 2-week period was up and he couldn't find anyone else. Now, if you can't find anyone else in the summer when you've got the time to do this, doing it now is obviously even harder in theory. The candidate names that have come up have been Roberto Martinez, the return perhaps of Xavi, although there's a certain disconnect there, I think, with Laporta at the moment. And so the short answer is I don't expect to change before the Atletico Madrid game. The longer answer is to kind of say, and it's difficult to properly define this for you, but he's kind of already gone, if you see what I mean.
I mean, one of the is it a coincidence that Ronald Koeman wasn't on the bench because he was suspended against Levante, and Levante Levante were very poor, it has to be said, but Barcelona played their best football and were outstanding.
Look, I'm really sorry, Ronald. I'm really sorry. I was hoping you have a bit of respite without Jules's psycho anti-Koeman vibes, but no. I guess you decided to pile on. Sid, come on, address this.
I would love to be able to say to you, of course it wasn't chance. They thought, Koeman's gone, we can have a great game. Koeman was there. Koeman had chosen the side. It's Koeman's assistant on the touchline wearing some unfortunately tight trousers as well, by the way. I mean,
wait. I thought I was the only one who noticed that.
No, honestly.
What was up with that? Who is he?
Maybe that's why they played so well, because they were desperately trying to get away from it. Oh God!
You couldn't get away from that, could you?
It was Homer Simpson going, "Stupid, sexy Flanders." Anyway, I've really very badly lost my train of thought there. So actually, perhaps they should have played worse because they'd have been so put off by this. I think it was coincidence. I think it was because Levante were kind of the perfect opponents at the moment, which is that they're a team that tries to play nice football, that won't go ultra defensive as some teams have done, but aren't actually very good at playing nice football right now. So I think it was chance. I mean, I must admit, I'm going to side with Gab here, which is a very uncomfortable position to take, and say, Koeman is getting some things wrong. I think that's true. And I think Koeman's constant determination publicly to say, look, this is a reality. Don't expect anything. You can't expect miracles in the Champions League. If we finish in a high position in La Liga, that would be a success. That kind of defeatist, fatalistic approach, I think probably isn't helpful. And we've seen the players come out and contradict him. That said, it is also rooted in a fundamental fact. This is broader than just Koeman. Now, with what they've got, should they be playing better? To be honest with you, I think they probably should. But I don't think Barcelona would be doing themselves any favours if they thought the only problem was Koeman. Well, because, of course, the bottom line is Lionel Messi went in the summer. But it's not just that Lionel Messi went. It's that Lionel Messi went because they could not afford to keep him, because the financial situation is so bad. So when Koeman talks about a reality, there is more than a kernel of truth in that.
All right, we're going to pick up on that, what they could afford and could not afford in the summer and stuff, and what they did in the summer, because I think it is obviously part of the conversation. It's the ultimate mitigating factor for Koeman. For me, in the immediate, what's probably more significant are the injuries, because obviously Ansu Fati just coming back, Dembele just coming back, not even coming back yet. I looked in the Levante game when he played all the kids. I thought, great. And then I looked at who was on the bench. Who did not get into that game, right, against Levante. And basically, the people who did not get into the game, Sid, were Neto, the reserve goalkeeper.
Yep.
Some guy whose name I'd never heard of, who I discovered was a third goalkeeper. And Samuel Umtiti, who is made of glass, tissue paper, whatever metaphor you want to describe, but who obviously should not be playing for Barcelona right now. Coutinho started that game, which I think says it all. So I am inclined to look at it and say, all right, glass half full. Fati continues his development. The regulars come back. Pedri comes back. Bit of Gavi, bit of Nico, I'm not so sure of, but whatever.
He did okay. Nico did okay as the holding midfield play. Did a good job.
But they come back, and then I think I could still look at this from a business perspective. And I don't know if Laporta views the situation this way and say, all right, I still have enough to reasonably expect to finish in the top 4 this season and get Champions League money next year. And this season, I still have enough to qualify to the knockout stage of the Champions League, which is going to put an extra X million into this club's coffers that they desperately need. That still has to be the goal. And I make a change when I don't think Koeman is the guy who can even deliver these slimmer targets, right? It's not a question of blame. Is it his fault? Is he a good manager, a bad manager? It's simply, can I get somebody who I can afford on the cheap? Maybe I go to Xavi, give him a sob story about, save your team. Whoever it is, will it give enough of a lift, remove some of the negativity, and then I can hit this minimum target, or I have more chance of this minimum target with this new guy than with Koeman. The situation's so far gone. You can't think in terms of vision, future, 5-year plan. You're not in that position. Am I right, Sid?
I think, personally, that when everybody's fit, Barcelona have quite a good starting 11. I don't think there's a huge amount of depth
I'd
there.
agree with
I think
that.
The starting 11 is very good indeed. I think it's a starting 11. Certainly before Griezmann went, and personally I would say as well before Emerson went, because I think he might have ended up playing quite a bit at right back. I think it was a starting 11 that could have competed for the league title. Now, to factor into your equation about am I going to get this from Koeman, not necessarily am I going to get a team that competes for the league, but am I going to get a team that will finish in the top 4, that will get out of the Champions League with Koeman? I think you are partly factoring in precisely this thing about Koeman's fatalistic message. But is that undermining the possibility of this team achieving? Because you're almost giving them, even if at some subconscious level, a get out. You're allowing them to fail. You're setting them up to fail because you're saying, well, it's kind of what you would expect. And so I wonder if absolutely we know that Laporta is looking at this and doesn't like this message. He said quite explicitly and quite publicly that he doesn't like this fatalistic message. And so I think you're right. He may well look at this and think, okay, we need to hit these targets. And with Koeman, I'm now not sure that we will, in part, as I say, because of that message. And in part as well, I never overlook this, because the confrontation between Koeman and Laporta has become sufficiently public now that impacts upon everything around it. If it was just those two behind the scenes not getting on particularly well, you can get on with it. But this is out in the open. This is every pre-match press conference. It's every post-match press conference. It's players being asked about it all the time. And that normally doesn't help a football team. And so I think that's part of it as well.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.